Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hi there.
So, guys, we're doing this in a roundabout manner on purpose. So, we hopefully can talk about things maybe we shouldn't be talking about, so to speak.
We're doing our best to get away with stuff.
There's a lot of interesting things coming out right now. Um, a lot, and it's hard to know what's legitimate and what's not. So, this is all just for entertainment purposes. As we said, any semblance to reality may or may not be real.
Right. Extremely just coincidental.
Yeah, so we have a person of interest identified in the Nashville situation. Anthony Quinn Warner. They always love giving three names like Lee
Yeah.
Harvey Oswald, and things like
Yeah.
that. Interesting. So he is somebody of interest in what happened there in Nashville and described as a 63-year-old white man. Federal agents are at the address listed to Warner. And so, he is somebody that they're talking to. And we'll check into that a little bit more. Interesting to see. We have the Tennessee governor asking for an emergency declaration. We had basically, planes grounded. We had outages to AT&T, outages to 9/11 service. As we see here, FAA shuts down airspace over Nashville. Military warns the U.S. government will use deadly force against any aircraft that enters, as the FBI is working hard to find out what happened. Interesting. Civil penalties may be imposed by the FAA, who may also suspend or revoke airman certification if pilots do not adhere to the restrictions. They're serious here, guys. In addition to the penalties from the FAA, the U.S. government may pursue criminal charges or deadly force. Blast injured 3 people, caused massive damage. And the FBI is investigating whether the BOMB may have been designed to deliberately target police officers lured into the area, as we talked about. Sets of gunshots going off prior to the explosion. And human remains possibly have been discovered near the site of the explosion. Somebody unfortunate in the area. Somebody actually perhaps evacuating as they were told by the, taped recording. Or is it one of the people involved in it? Or is it just something that was placed there? Who knows?
Yeah.
So we see this is Andy No. The RV in the Google Maps search of this address linked to Anthony Quinn Warner, person of interest. And, here we have a picture of his house with what looks to be a very similar one in the yard. Now, again, be cynical. Be cynical, guys. Do not believe anything, and keep your minds open. As we know throughout history, was there somebody on the grassy knoll? Things are often very, very twisted, and we see here everybody on Twitter is all over it, as in all the forums of a conspiratorial nature. And so this person tweets that he apparently sold it a month ago to this person. And people have even conjectured, saying, well, it looks like he has a daughter named Michelle. Maybe that's her married name.
Mm-hmm.
And then other people have gone even farther, showing pictures of a real estate person in a different state, wondering if that is his daughter. So people are doing their own research, and you see sale price $0. So that does make you wonder. But, who knows? Is this just a red herring as well? And we see this tweet, and this is a very interesting one for sure. And you guys, I'm sure you could read that. Interesting, because this was like, it says 4 days ago. So this is well before all the events. Is that just a curious coincidence? Is it? And this is the Facebook of Dr. J. Edward Jones, attorney at law. And you see his info there as well. Lives in Ringgold, Georgia, from Cincinnati. And yeah, he has been fielding a ton of questions from people because of that tweet that he put out. And he's not the only one. Here we have Tariq Nasheed talking about this absolute strange coincidence going on. And again, this is all just in this perhaps a little fabrication of life that we have going on as we go deeper and deeper into all the, well, going down the rabbit holes. Wasn't there somebody that talked about going down rabbit holes recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of rabbit holes, and some of these rabbit holes lead to nowhere, and perhaps some of these lead to very interesting places. So, when you look and read this is interesting stuff. And there's always this tangled web. Technology can work for us, it can work against us. And it can work for the powers that be, it can work against the powers that be. It could work for certain governments, and it could work against other governments. And, people have skills, and there's so many people out there that do such a good job deciphering things and going deeper and deeper. And this is what we were talking about yesterday in the second video. And this is blown up, and it's very, very clear that there's something that apparently comes from above down. And then, right, rolling backwards, back up to the sky, and down, and then there you go. Very much like what we saw over in the Middle East. Of course, that was a much, much bigger explosion. I think, that looks like a total smoking gun right there. I don't see much doubt in that.
Oh no, that was definitely whatever that was ignited the rest of it.
Yeah. And it was interesting, too, that we saw a flash, and we could still see the RV sitting there. Flash, RV still there. And then it makes perfect sense with what we see right here. And something comes from the sky. Was it an act of God? Maybe, right?
Yep.
Maybe it's an act of God. Maybe it's something that's not quite so benevolent. Interesting, but that looks like a smoking gun. Man, I used to, God, I remember there was this guy named Dan Quayle. Wasn't he the VP at one time? Interesting. It's interesting, too, what people do after they leave politics or positions of power, and how they end up in certain circles, inner circles within circles. Very curious. Well, hey, you do the public service, and then, I guess things generally tend to work out in people's favor. And interesting, the connections that we see. I'm sure that's a very, very well-paying position, and he's doing fine for himself. And I'll give you some links as well. Interesting stuff we see going on. It does feel like reality is way more wild than even, some stories that you would watch. And I'm thinking about a 2013 movie, Olympus Has Fallen. Have you guys ever seen that one? Olympus Has Fallen? That was a good movie as well. And, the connections between these people, when, some, for instance, are in public service, and then they leave, and the connections between these different entities, as I said before, if we wanted to eliminate so much of the problems of the world, we would simply eliminate the entire concept of corporations.
Mm-hmm.
Watch how hard it would be for things to be controlled and manipulated at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if things were owned by smaller entities, it would be very difficult to get away with a lot of things.
The whole concept of corporations is one in which it allows control, and it also allows escaping from liability. It's it's one means to an end for the elite of the elite, for sure. So, guys, I hope you found this interesting. And again, of course, we have to be as cryptic as possible. Make sure you are subscribed, click the bell, get all the notifications, or at least one or two, hopefully, every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. We couldn't do it without you. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.